The pick is in.
The Washington Commanders have made a selection in the 2024 NFL Draft. Alongside Locked On College Football host Spencer McLaughlin, I'm Tenitra Batiste, and we are joined by David Harrison of Locked On Commanders to break down the Commanders selecting Johnny Newton with the 36th pick and Mike Sainristil with the number 50 pick. So, David, what's the biggest asset that Johnny Newton can bring to this Commanders defensive front?
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking at Johnny Newton a little bit, not honestly as intensely, because when you look at the Washington Commanders defensive tackle group, you look at Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, and I know Jonathan Allen said some pretty choice words during the last season about struggles and frustrations, but he's been here for the voluntary portion of the workout every single day. You know what I mean? So he certainly seems to be committed to what's going on with the team. So no whispers on the wind that he's being traded or anything. So it was kind of a position group that, especially early on, really wasn't a focal point of a lot of coverage. But just so happens, I also covered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for one of Sports Illustrated sites, and he reminds me a lot of Kalijah Kancey, who came out of Pitt last year. So that alone is very exciting. And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys defense from last year, where new head coach Dan Quinn and defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. come from, they used a lot of odd fronts. They used a lot of three-down linemen. And when you look at what Johnny Newton might be able to do playing next to Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen on a three-down lineman front, it's very exciting. If you look at the Dallas Cowboys tape, I think you look at a guy like Osa Odigizua, and I think that's kind of what Johnny Newton might be able to be for this Dallas Cowboys, this Washington Commanders version of that Dallas Cowboys defense. And, of course, edge rushers like Dorrance Armstrong, linebackers like Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu. I think that's probably where we're kind of looking at, but I can't lie and say that totally expected. But, look, a talent like Johnny Newton doesn't fall into your lap every day, so when he does, you got to take advantage of it.
And what is Sainristil's biggest strength at corner for the Commanders?
He's a nickel. He is the best nickel in this class. I think most people would agree with that assessment. And look, I'm an Ohio State guy. My dad was born and raised right outside Columbus, so I was born and raised to be a Buckeye fan. So it pains me to see the state of Michigan football today compared to Ohio State football. But this dude is a baller, and as much as it pained me to watch, Ohio State losing these last 2 or 3 years. You can't deny it, right? And I think it was said on the television broadcast, he was the best defensive player on the best defense in the country, and I don't think that's an understatement. The dude is a lot of play, a lot of big play waiting to happen in a very small package, and then getting to talk to him on the Zoom conference. I mean, he kind of went through the typical, like, did you know Washington was interested, all this stuff. But as soon as you clicked onto a ball question, as soon as he got to talk ball, I mean, the persona changed, right? Like he went from a celebrating young man who just made it to the NFL to a ruthless ball player. I'm not going to say the K word there, but I think that's probably a fair assessment as well. I'm really excited to see him join the club. It's been a kind of a question because Quan Martin, coming in from Illinois last year, like he was a nickel, did some free safety stuff for the Commanders, really kind of looked to advance as a free safety at the end of last year. So the question was, did this new staff view him as a safety or as a nickel? I think drafting Mike Sainristil pretty much tells you Quan Martin's probably going to be a free safety in this new defense. And I mean, you can't look for a better nickel in this class than Mike Sainristil. So super pumped that he's coming to the squad.
For more on the Commanders, subscribe to Locked On Commanders on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. So, Spencer, which of these picks has the best chance to make the biggest early impact for the Commanders, you think?
So I think Mikey Sainristil is the bigger name because he played for Michigan and has got plenty of hype. Max Chadwick of Pro Football Focus tweeted out after Johnny Newton was selected that the Commanders just got the best player in the entire draft.
Whoa.
That's clearly his particular take. However, I'll say as a Seahawks fan myself, the last guy to come out of Illinois, Devin Witherspoon, has worked out pretty darn well. And clearly, those Illini players can fly a little bit under the radar. And Newton was one of the top defensive tackles coming into this class. And to get him in the second round, I think is tremendous value on the part of the Commanders' front offense. I can't see either of these picks not working. These dudes are too talented, too good. You can look at either one and make the case for this guy's going to be better than him. That's fine. I think Newton on the interior can be a force. He's got some veterans to kind of help him get acclimated to the NFL, which I think is always a great thing for young players coming out of college. Sainristil is an absolute gamer, but I think Newton can be a real high-end defensive tackle.
For continuing coverage of the 2024 NFL Draft, subscribe to Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.